All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am back at you today. I just want to take some time to do a relationship reading. We're going to check out the relationship outcome, okay, going on between Tia Mowry and her husband, Cordy Hardy. So, we're just going to get right into it. And I just want you guys to go ahead and click that like and subscribe button before I get into it. And I'm going to give you a little psychic insights first before I pull the cards. We're going to do that, and then we're going to get confirmation, okay, with the cards so that we can see how these psychic insights are confirmed by Spirit once we open up a portal with the cards. And so, I'm just going to light this candle real quick. We're going to invite Spirit into the reading. I give thanks to my spirit guides and my guardian angel. Thank you for being with me as I come to bring insight and information so that we can all have better reasoning and judgment. And we give thanks to the universal mind for opening up all channels to receive and relay the information with clarity. Let it be so, and so it is. I'm just going to light up a little sage for a minute so we can just kind of clear some space. We just said a prayer, invited Spirit in. So we need to clear some space for Spirit. Always, always let us treat our readings as sacred. When Spirit opens up a portal for the cards, that way we're always giving respect, you know. Alright, so one of the psychic insights that I got earlier today, I saw a picture of them and I kept hearing alcohol, 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 alcohol. And then I felt like I saw Tia. She had her little baby. Well, it just seemed like in my vision, that's how, you know, Spirit talks to me. But I felt like I saw her with the little baby, and she was covering the little baby. Like she didn't want the little baby to see or hear what was going on. Okay. I definitely don't see cheating. I don't see a third party involved. The only thing I do see is I feel like I see him sitting at the club in my vision. He's very anxious. He has a lot of anxiety. I feel like he has a run-in, you know, with a female. Not saying that anything happened, but I definitely feel like there was an exchange there, okay? Definitely feel like she was alerted. But I definitely feel like he's been drinking a lot lately to try to suppress some of his feelings that he has. One of the feelings that I pick up is feelings of inadequacy, okay? Feelings of inadequacy. So what that represents is people feel inadequate or they feel like they are not enough, okay? For some reason. And I definitely feel there's a lot of inadequacy with him. And I feel like that is taking a toll on her because not only is the drinking and that turning him into a different person at certain times, and it's causing him to be verbally abusive. But what I also feel is that, you know, she wants to shield the kids from those things, and also she herself is now suppressing feelings because she wants to say things, she wants to get things off her chest that she hasn't been able to say because she's been putting his well-being first. So that's somewhat being an enabler, okay? That's a little bit of codependency issues, okay? I know that word kind of sounds redundant after a while in a reading, but some of those things go along with inadequacy and someone who, you know, they're not quite secure in themselves and what they can provide for their families, okay? So we're just going to take a look at what the cards say. I have to shuffle, cut this up the way so guys will have a little bit more space to see. And I do not know what time it is. So I'm just going to go get my phone. Be right back. Get the time. All right, I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. The time is 11:45. So the number is 11 because 4 and 5 is 9, 10, 11. I always go off time. I don't go off cards falling out and all that kind of stuff. We got order here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so let's see what Spirit is saying here. We've got the Page of Cups. Page of Cups. That's going to be very important for the future. It's in the place of the future. Four of Pentacles is a root issue. King of Pentacles is a root issue. Also, Page of Pentacles is a root issue. And then we've got the Seven of Wands here along with Strength. Okay. Strength. Okay. So let us see what's going on here. Now, we've got the Six of Cups to start in the place of the present, right? The Six of Cups. I feel like Spirit is saying growth, 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 growth here, okay? Growth is essential. And when we're not growing, if our relationship isn't growing, or we feel like it could grow and it's kind of stagnant, then what ends up happening is that we come to some sort of crossroads, okay? So I would say that Spirit is saying here, yeah, in the present time, you know, there's an issue here with growth. Understanding how we need to be more mature. We need to put away some of the childish things that we've been doing so that we can move forward, okay, and reach new plateaus or new levels in life. That's what Spirit says. That's what's going on in the present. I feel like Spirit is saying there's a question about this, because with the Six of Cups, that's all about imperfections when we're talking about sixes. And when we're looking at imperfections, we're just looking at places where we need to mature, right? We need to reach a new level of knowledge. Our consciousness needs to grow. We need to become enlightened. Which, the next card coming up here in the place of the problem is the Sun card. The Sun card usually talks about when there's hidden things or, you know, kind of sort of things that we need to talk about. We're not talking about them. We're pushing them down every day. We're going about our business. And at the end of the day, all it's doing is like building on this hostile energy, okay? I definitely feel like this card represents finding out some things that you originally didn't know, and that's a problem, okay? I am getting there some sort of exchange, communication, or something that takes place, but it's not in a way of cheating, okay? It's more in a way of, hey, look, you know, your husband was drunk, you know, nothing really happened, you know, but I just want to let you know that this type of thing is going on. So, you know, this is where, when it comes down to putting away childish things, because we don't handle a situation in our partnerships by going out drinking and then embarrassing our spouse, okay, in different ways. So on top of the verbal abuse, on top of the alcohol problem, there's this issue, you know, with embarrassing someone, embarrassing Tia, you know, putting business out on the front street. And so we'll talk more about that, but I kind of feel like this is about holding stuff in and you not being able to release and let go, and using vices and bad behavior to express that, you know? So that's the Sun card inverted in the place of the problem. Now, in the place of the past, we've got this Knight of Swords, and it's inverted. This kind of tells a little bit about him, because what the Knight of Swords inverted says is someone is very impulsive, okay? They don't understand how to be patient. They don't understand how to take their time and handle things in a manner that brings balance, kind of pacing people. So they move a little bit quick, a little bit fast. And this type of person here, they act on things that they haven't really taken time to think about, okay? So they just think, you know what, I'm pissed off, I want to go do this, I'm going to do it. And they don't think about the consequences, or they don't think about how it's going to affect anyone else later on. So I kind of feel like that card in the place of the past represents, like, this has been a while that he's been doing this, okay? Now, this Page of Cups here in the place of the future, pages, I always tell you guys, that represents information, research, facts. This card also represents immaturity, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that Six of Cups, that not growing. This card here represents immaturity, and I really feel Spirit saying holding back information. Now, this card is in the place of the future, okay? So I feel like this is what Spirit is showing. You can look forward to them speaking about or giving us more information about. I feel like they'll frame it more as having not dealt with things from your childhood. I do feel like Corey has some other issues, okay? He needs to go to therapy. I almost feel like that's going to happen, and I feel like they're going to be really cool later on. I feel like he's going to get some help for his addiction or whatever, but not now. They both need space apart, right? So this card is representing, in the meantime, right now, there's some like childish kind of communication going on, because I feel like Corey looks at this as, a little freedom for himself, instead of exactly going to do the things that he needs to do to get help. So I kind of feel like this is what the irreconcilable difference is about. Another thing is that suppressed communication, okay? And I told you before, there's been a cycle going on with Tia not being able to express herself, okay? So I kind of feel like Spirit is saying, yo, this is going to be the future of the relationship. They're going to have some childish communication. It's going to take him a while to get it together, because he's got some stuff brewing from the past that he needs to get out, some stuff from childhood. And that's what causes him to kind of like act out and be a little bit immature with how he's dealing with things. He needs to grow up. It's time for him to, reach new plateaus and new levels. And before, that was okay. It was understandable that you were going through something and you were handling your issues or your problems, maybe by drinking a little bit. But now I've brought this to your awareness. The kids are not going to benefit by this. You need to grow up, and you need to figure out better ways of coping. So I feel like that is appropriate, especially with the cups too, because I told you there's an alcohol issue. That's why these cups are coming up. We have the Six of Cups, and then we also right now have the Page of Cups inverted. Now, here's another Cups card, the Three of Cups. This card is coming out inverted. This card represents, or is in the place of the consciousness. And when we see the Three of Cups and it's inverted, that does represent like separations, divorces, canceled events, okay? I really feel like the Three of Cups here in the place of the consciousness, it represents whether or not people are thinking about reunifying. It's like they really want to get back together, right? I feel like this is more on Tia's behalf rather than his. I kind of feel like he's looking at this as he needed this space, okay? I get something from him as like he's cringed, or, you know, he really feels like he wants to do some acting out, okay? And drinking the alcohol is a way for him to suppress that. But what ends up happening is that he drinks anyway, so the verbal abuse comes out, and what he's really thinking and feeling tends to come out while he's drinking. While Tia, she's not, you know, really having a drinking problem. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I know this person is drunk. I'm going to just let them rant or whatever like that, right? But it's just starting to get real uncomfortable, and it's really starting to tax her self-esteem. But this card represents, you know, really being down, feeling sad. You know, you question whether or not you can reunify with someone, get back together. Now, we're going to get into root issues here, and I already told you I sense a very strong root issue of inadequacy. We have the Four of Pentacles coming up. This card, this Four of Pentacles right here, this card really represents someone holding on to something, right? When this card comes up, it's like they're holding on to something so tightly that they need to let go. And I definitely feel like this is about making money. This is about being able to lead and making money. This is about having or adding value to yourself, okay? When I see this card coming up for him, I really feel like, and I saw this earlier in my vision, because it was like I saw him talking to somebody, and then the guy turned around and I heard like fizzled out. So I feel like there has been a recent opportunity for him that he was really looking forward to, and it's fizzled out. Now what that equates to as a root issue is that you need to release and let go that money is not going to be how you get your leadership. Money is not going to be how you get trust. Money is not going to be how you get respect. How you get respect is by changing your ways or doing something that you can show, you know, that you reflected on, and your partner can see that like, damn, this person really learned a lesson. I'm so proud of them. I want to keep going with them, okay? He can't differentiate between his value as a man when it comes to money and how that affects his leadership, his respect, and how his behavior, his inability to show maturity, okay? It's not the money, it's the maturity. And he can't understand that. Whoops, I dropped a card. That's all right. Now, the next card that comes up as a root issue is the King of Pentacles. Now, you know this card is very important because this card represents men who are very abundant, who are very prosperous. They have the ability to be providers, and they can lead, okay, with that energy. This is a root issue. This is saying he's unable to lead with that energy. He doesn't feel prosperous. He doesn't feel abundant, okay? I feel like he thinks he has to buy it because she has a lot of money, okay? So I feel like this is really an issue for him. I feel like he needs to go to therapy. And I definitely feel like he doesn't realize the opportunities and advantages that he has right now just by being in a family with someone like that. If he wants the leadership and whatnot, he would have to take a woman who has a lesser social status, a lesser financial status, okay? He doesn't realize that. You know, sometimes when we're married, we get fixated on certain things that we don't have instead of appreciating the things that we do have. And that can kind of take us down a rabbit hole sometimes where we'll do things like develop, you know, a dependency on alcohol. Some people develop that on drugs, and then that leads to other temptations, okay? So I kind of feel like that's what this represents as a root issue. Now, another card that we got, these Pentacles are coming out, you guys, is this Page of Pentacles. And it came out inverted. So I definitely feel like this is another confirmation that one of the root issues, one of the things that he's being suppressed or she's being suppressed about, speaking about, is lifting up. It's kind of like you got to lift up the ego because you know the person feels inadequate, right? But you guys never talk about that. You never talk about, oh, like, I know you feel inadequate. This is why you're doing it, because you don't know how to say that, right? So I kind of feel like there's a lot of communication suppressed around this problem. And he doesn't have the faith or the strength to speak up and say, hey, you know, I do feel inadequate. I need to take some space away so I can do something for myself, so I can lift up my self-esteem and kind of feel a little bit better. It's not you. It has really nothing to do with you. It has to do with me and the way that I view masculinity. I kind of sort of think that's what this is about. Pages, remember, that's communication, that's words, that's research, that's books, that's information. And that information is being suppressed. And so Spirit is saying, yeah, they're never really getting into this root issue. And a lot of it seems to be misdirected when it's like Spirit saying to me right now, they're looking at it as a money thing. Both of them are, when they should be looking at it as a thing of getting time and space, and each person having the opportunity to build up their self-esteem without the other one, you know, coming down on them to crash that. Healthy, you know, without drinking. I think Tia kind of sees it, but, you know, it's starting to be like, wait a minute, motherfucker, hold on, you know. You're not about to keep talking to me like this or putting me down, you know, because you're under the influence. And then the kids are sitting here. They're going to see that. That's going to traumatize them. And it makes the relationship very toxic. So this Seven of Pentacles, that card is very interesting because this card is always about folding on your beliefs, or you're trying to hold on like to your beliefs. When it's inverted like this is about your fight to hold on to your beliefs. I kind of feel like this represents values with Tia. And this card is in the place of hopes and fears. So this card, you know, just kind of represents like, I don't want to lose my dignity. I don't want to lose my self-esteem. I don't want to lose who I am as a person. So I kind of feel like she's having just a little bit of mental distress. And you know, she's like, if I'm having mental distress, I know that my kids could be having some mental distress. So let me, you know, kind of nip this in the bud real quick, right? That's in the place of like hopes and fears. So you want to hang on to someone, but you fear letting go of your values, letting go of your beliefs to kind of make sure that everything stays together. So it's kind of like you got to choose between it, whether you're going to keep it together or you're going to break it apart. If it's more healthy to break it apart, why not break it apart? And then the Strength card is coming out inverted. Now this card is coming out in the place of the outcome. When we see the Strength card inverted, that represents to me, you can't tame someone. You can't tame them. Because you can't tame a lion, right? If you're able to tame a lion, you're considered very wise. But at the end of the day, the card's coming out inverted. So it's saying you can't tame a lion. You can't tame a lion. And I kind of sort of feel like with this card, Spirit is saying the outcome is only one person. It's kind of like one person puts in effort. The other person is too wild. They're not cultivated enough. I kind of sort of feel like with Corey, this represents him going through some kind of past, like childhood trauma, and ultimately him never really sitting down with himself to deal with that. And thinking that being with someone or being in the family was going to do that for him. And it didn't do it for him, right? He's still wild. He's still not cultivated. And I definitely feel like, Spirit is saying right now, there's some kind of chemical dependency with someone else in his family. I feel like it's his dad. And I definitely feel like there was, that element growing up and him not really understanding and seeing how that motivated him to kind of want better, but he didn't really do the work to like change himself so he could be able to receive better. And now, those things are coming back to kind of sort of like hunt him, because he's like repeating behaviors. And this represents just kind of like a cycle of, when a person's not cultivated, it's like certain things happen to where they feel great, but then when they feel down in the dumps, they're messed up. So other things that are around them or in their environment, the way that they're able to control those things rather than themselves, speaks for how they'll behave. Okay, other than that, they're wild, right? They need to be tamed. And this card represents she's not going to be able to tame him. So I don't feel like they'll be getting back together. But what I do feel is that he is going to get help for himself later on. And I do see him like on some sort of talk show or something where he talks about, how he let himself go, and he feels really bad because he lost his family and this and that. And I do see Tia in another relationship with someone else. So I definitely feel like he's going to regret his slow progress and his stagnancy that he's experiencing right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I don't feel like they'll be getting back together. I do feel like you'll later hear about his alcohol abuse, his verbal abuse, and I feel like he'll be admitting where he went wrong in his relationship and expressing that he wished that he could take it back. But this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when people go through cycles, and every 7 years people go through their own personal cycle, and then we're going through that together. And if we're not able to overcome that, or people just get in a sunken place, yes, it can cause your relationship to go to shits. So we have to pay attention. And what I get from this reading, personally speaking, is that some of us can be presented with the best of everything, and none of that is going to change us. Like, we have to do the work to change ourselves. Alright? If you enjoyed this reading, again, make sure you become part of the team. And all of my contact information will be in the box below. If you would like to call me and set up a personal tarot reading, I also do psychic readings as well as mediumship. And I'll be live on Instagram on October 30th, telling each person who calls into the show who is walking with them, okay? Sometimes we need to understand that we are not limited by the physical. So that show is more about eternal life, and you will get a free kind of sort of like half of an ancestor reading, because I'm just going to tell you who's there, who's walking with you. And then you can experience me live for free. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in.